everybody. We are starting soon. Just trying to find the lighting. I think that's good. Let me find my notes. Today we're doing an interview with Nicole Garbellini, an Italian producer, theater maker, actress. We're waiting for her to get on the call. One sec. Hi, Emma. Hi, Nicole. Welcome. So, today we are having an interview with Nicole Garbellini, an Italian. Hello, hi.
Hello, how are you?
An introduction to you. Nicole Garbellini, an Italian performer, theater performer, producer, actress, and founder of Aurora Theatre in Hong Kong. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, first of all, congratulations on a 10-year anniversary of your company.
Almost. That will be in November, but yeah, we're getting there.
Exciting. It's November,
yeah.
But it's getting there.
Yeah.
That's a great number, quite a number, huh?
It's been quite a journey, yes, quite a number.
Well,
a lot happened.
A lot happened, yeah, I'm sure. So let's just jump right into it because we have only 1 hour for this interview, and I got so many questions for you.
Okay.
Well, first of all, you are a producer, director, actress. Is this the right? Is this the right order, or you prefer, to rearrange it?
It's okay. There is no order.
No?
No, because it all happens together, so it doesn't really matter which one goes first. There's always some involvement of some sort. So whether it's it's always producing, because Aurora is my company, and when I founded it, I thought, I want to act, so I'm willing to put the work of the producer as long as I can skip auditions.
Oh yeah. that's the best perks, isn't it?
I know, right? But then I realized that actually it was like running your company, as you know, it's a lot of work. So if you can act in it, that's great. But as things go by and as things happen, you realize it's no longer the priority, especially if you want to make things happen. So you got to do whatever works best for the production, for everyone else around you. So my role will always be the one of the producer. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, like a producer, it's a lot of admin, it's a lot of organization, it's a lot of, handling people, places, things. It's not really creative, or at least not all the time. So my compromise was, okay, as long as I can produce and direct, or produce and act, then it's fine. It's a good compromise for me. So yeah, it really depends what the involvement is.
Nice. So you opened Aurora 10 years ago, and you mentioned that there was some breakup story, and to get over that breakup, you had to do something creative. So it was like, you became a director and a producer, you said, out of necessity, and I will find a quote. I needed a stable director I could rely on, and there's nothing more solid than relying on yourself. Is that still true to you? Or like, do you find, because for me, right, I have also a little bit of trust issues. Like,
that's another one.
find as responsible, as, you know, hardworking person as, you know, I'm not bragging, but, you know, as I am, it's really hard for me. And I trust myself, and it's really, like, I can feel it. It's really easy to rely on yourself. But at the same time, it's really hard to put on so many hats, like director, producer, actor. And I'm sure that you miss acting a little bit, like you enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So how is it true for you? And have you managed to find some directors in Hong Kong who you know, enjoy working and trust and you can rely on? How?
They exist, you know, they are out there. They're not unicorns.
Nice.
But let's say, like, especially at the beginning, I always relied on other directors. So the approach was, I've got this idea for this play, I can produce it, I'd love to be in it, can you direct it? And that was the approach. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't work. So I thought, how can I prevent the not working part? What can I do to make it better? And then I decided to take on directing because I thought perhaps it's time to start. One should learn how to, you know, be on the director's chair, be outside and see what looks good and what doesn't. So it is true that I had to learn this out of necessity because I thought, what if I really want to do this play? And what if I don't have a director? Or perhaps I have a great director, but is not available for that project. Or perhaps it's not the right time. So what can I do? So that's how it happened.
Was it scary the first time?
Oh, yeah. Right? Oh, God, yeah. No, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So I started basically with kids' plays. I'm like, at least, you know, that's a testing. Kids are brutally honest. So if you do something wrong, they'll come and tell you, like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. So as long as you have like a good, you know, happy cast of children, that they're all happy and enthusiastic, great. Keep going. Nice. Go for it. And then I took it on 10 minutes plays and then 1 act plays and then full length play. And then you take it from there.
So you learn on the job then?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What's the hardest for you to be a director then?
What's that? Sorry?
What's the hardest for you to be a director?
I found it challenging balancing with balancing actors' schedules. That's the toughest part, especially when you do big plays, like big productions like Crucible or Inherit the Wind. We had like 24 actors in it. Crucible was 18. Last Days of Judas Iscariot was 18 as well, like crazy. So you really need to rely on people to be responsible, to be, you know, kind, to to be respectful of other people's time and scheduled. But on the other hand, this is Hong Kong. So people give the time that they can, and sometimes the majority, like the other factors get in the way, family, work, you know, last minute issues. So you have to, you know, be open about it.
It's quite stressful.
It is pretty stressful. Yeah, that part is stressful. Sometimes when I go like, okay, guys, I need to do the rehearsal schedule. Give me all your availability. And then you realize that there is that person who doesn't give you the availability, that person who doesn't get back to you. So, you know, that is stressful. The rehearsal process and working with actors and designers, that's my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And what was the hardest for you when you decided to open the company?
Okay. So as I said, I was going through a breakup. So it was hard. It was painful, and like breakups are. I don't think I know too many people who had fun during a breakup. So my ex and I were both in the arts, in the theater. Him more than me at that time. So I did want to do something for myself, like something that can, you know, keep me busy, engaged, can distract me from what's going on in my personal life. And, you know, I was really eager to have a space for myself where I could just throw all the ideas and have people joining me and create this opportunity for artists in Hong Kong who could perform, who could have a platform to engage with other artists, other actors, directors, and performers. And so my mission was to create something in the English language, but that could promote English language culture as well as other cultures like the Italian, for example. And I basically put together this for people to have a platform, not just for me, but for everybody else out there to have a platform, work together, bring ideas together, and so forth.
Okay, interesting. So since you started talking about your mission, your company's mission, what would you say sets Aurora Theatre apart from other companies in Hong Kong or, theatre companies worldwide?
Sure. I mean, it's Aurora Theatre is part of the acting community, of the theatre community out there. So in that aspect, we're not different from what other companies out there do, we do contemporary plays, and we collaborate with the different actors, directors, artists in town. We want diversity, we want different nationalities, backgrounds, dialects, accents, anything. We want different colors. We want colors.
Yeah.
We like contemporary plays, so sometimes it's we stage existing plays, and sometimes we do original material, which I like that very much.
What do you prefer more? What do you prefer? What do you prefer more? Original or already published stuff?
I think I like original better, even though if you want to attract people to the theatre, a very well-known play will always drag people.
Well-known play.
Yeah.
This is from your experience, yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we did plays that they were completely unknown. Plays that I picked from the US when I was training there, and nobody knew them. So I just said, this is great material. Let's just try it. And of course, people who are keen into theater and the arts will go oh yeah, I'll come and watch because I want to see what it's all about, or I think this could interest me, or I have my best friend or my wife or my husband performing, so I'll come and I'll bring friends, different reasons. But whenever you do a classic, it could be something that students study at school, like Crucible, or think of Agatha Christie or something really, really famous. That
Shakespeare,
of course,
is very famous.
Yeah. So that always drags the masses to the theater.
So would you say that the published material sells better? Yeah. And what sells better? Comedies, drama, from your experience? Comedies.
Yeah, comedies. Famous comedies always sell. Yeah.
Why do you think so? People are tired of light drama. They need something lighthearted.
Yeah. I think that, people come, let's not talk about the situation now, because right now we live in a very different situation. But think about the usual scenario of Hong Kong, right? People are very busy. They're very stressed out at work. They have a long day at the office, and they go to the theater and they just go right, I just want to chill. I just want to relax. I just want to be entertained. And that's easy.
Switch off my mind and just relax.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, there are people who, want to be challenged intellectually and stimulated, which is at part of our mission back in the days. We always said we want to, challenge people. We want to throw challenging material. We want to, stimulate the community. So that's what we want, but it
doesn't sell.
It does and it doesn't.
Right.
It depends. You can still have very controversial material and be famous. When we did Inherit the Wind, that was another one that sold. It was like very controversial, very particular story, but that was famous. Yeah. So there you go.
Okay, cool. Oh. Actually, for those who've joined just now, we are having a talk with an Italian, well, originally from Italy, Hong Kong-based theater performer, theater director, producer, theater maker, actress, and the founder of Aurora Theatre. So please feel free to ask us any questions. We will finish actually in 45 minutes. So yeah, just jump in and ask us anything. But my next question would be about money. Okay. Money and art.
Let's talk.
Money in art. It's hard.
That's tough.
Is Aurora Theatre is a profitable profit-making business now?
So Aurora Theatre is not an NGO, so it's a company for profit. So let's specify how it works. If you are an NGO, it means like you are a non-profit company, and therefore you are more prone to get fundings from the government or from sponsors, like corporate sponsors. So technically, if you have that revenue coming in, you are sorted out. However, you don't have a lot of freedom. If you have big sponsors, if you have the government supporting you, you will have to do what they want. You will have to have a program that fits them before it fits you and your creative ideas. Of course, you can get to be very creative out there. You can get to do a lot, but it's a compromise. It's more a compromise. Aurora Theatre is for profit, which means that we get absolute freedom to do whatever we want, but we need to provide our own revenue. So for what I learned in my own experience and what you learn when you do digital content, how do you make revenue? You make revenue by teaching something, by educating someone about your expertise, about your art, about what you do. So how do we survive through our classes and workshops? So we have like a group of schools that come to us for students workshops and plays. We do acting classes for adults. We have also we collaborate with clients of different nature, like startups and various companies, and whenever they need actors, they also get in touch with us.
And for all the theater makers and producers, what would be your best advice? How do you find clients? How do you sell your tickets? Can you share a few tips or,
sure,
I don't know, top secrets of your sales?
Sure.
What do you do as a producer?
Sure. I mean, it's not really I'm totally happy to share. I don't think it's too much top secrets because I'm sure you've done it already, but here it is. So when we have to sell a play, we will use whatever is available, such as social media, so your platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, your Facebook page. These are all free, so anyone should make a good use of that, good use of the hashtags and so forth, and be consistent in your posting. Also creating stories, the whole social media shebang.
Yeah.
Then this takes time but pays off in the end. If you have a website of your company, make sure that you have a subscription box where people, whomever visits your website, can say, oh, I like these guys, I want to keep up to date. What do you guys do? Send me an email. I want to find out about your news, so
that's an excellent advice. Yeah, that's an excellent advice.
Everybody who has a website to have a subscription box. It's actually really easy to set up. You don't have to be a tech genius to do that. It's easy, and it's free as well. So that's one. Building up a mailing list takes time. But, especially within your community, wherever you are, just go out, meet people in your industry, but also meet people who are not in your industry. Have your business card ready, introduce yourself, be friendly, say, this is what I do. And leave a business card, and you know, someone may want to know more about it. So somebody might stop by your website and sign up. So this is another advice. Third thing is to reach out to the press. Of course, reaching out to the press in Hong Kong is not always easy, because some of them rely on paid subscription. So unless you pay, which is okay to pay if you can afford it, unless you pay, you don't really get featured. But there are ways to do it. Perhaps like you can always ask for, like, you know, the local newspaper to put you in the listing, so that whomever reads the program of the week will see that there is a show coming up. Or also, like, you know, try to reach out the local radio, local podcasts, local people, and just say, hey, can I just, you know, be covered or featured in return of, I don't know, share something for them, see what you can do for them. So it's like a win-win situation.
Cool. Thank you. Excellent.
And then one more thing, of course, your cast has to participate, especially, you know, a lot of companies, and we do the same, we always cut a share of the profit for the actors, so that, you know, it feels like they don't do it for nothing. And to do that, we need a supportive cast. So it's very important.
So you give them salary, and then on top of advertising the show, you give some percentage from the cut.
It depends. If we can, we do salaries. If we cannot, we just do profit share. So basically, we push the cast to, you know, invite family, friends, and everyone, and say, look, we can do this for you, but just help us. Also because, like, it's not so much about the money per se. I mean, that's always great, but who wants to perform in front of an empty audience after you spend, like, you know, 2-3 months working on the piece? You want a little bit of satisfaction, you know, a bit of gratification. True.
Okay, so, you know, I have lots of respect always for those artists who start their own businesses and companies, and I'm trying to
you did the same.
I try to promote it to my artist creative friends, but not everybody feel comfortable or courageous enough. And I believe that being an entrepreneur, you know, you have to have certain character traits and qualities in you to be able to survive. Do you agree with me that not everyone is born?
I do agree with you.
You don't? Or you do? You do?
I do agree with you. I think you are born with certain traits of, you know, you've got to like the business side of it. You've got to like it. You've got to be prone, at least. And then, of course, like, there are a lot of tricks and skills that you can learn, a lot. But you've got to be, like, naturally inclined to it. I know plenty of people that are really successful, but they're not business people. And that's okay. That's totally cool. It's just like, you know, some people are and some people are not.
Yeah. You know, I've been in Hong Kong only for, like, what, 3 years, but I can't help to notice that most of the artistic directors are women.
Yeah.
You know, Sweet and Sour, Candice Moore, you, me, Davina.
Yeah.
You know, all women. And you know, it made me think, is that because we women are afraid that we're going to reach a certain age, which is actually a popular opinion, that female actors leave, you know, the career of the female actress leaves for 35 years or so, like after 35 is already, So we women prefer, before it happens, we prefer to get, you know, or ownership and become producers and so forth. Do you share this opinion, or do you think there is a expiration date to a female actress's career?
I don't think so, because, like, you know, you start off in your 20s, you know, maybe earlier when you're very young, you want to do that, but everybody's path is different. There are some people who are already very, very mature to be actors, like at a very young age, and some people who become mature a bit later. It really depends. Everybody has their own path. But I think like, especially now, there are maybe what you said was more related to like more related to the past. Now, thankfully, with so many like, you know, channels, like think of Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, whatever. There are like, everybody competes for content and competes for things to be out for people to subscribe and watch. So I think like, I've been watching a lot of things on Netflix lately, of course, like a lot of people, I think. And it's great to see like so many actresses of so many different ages, color, nationalities, background. And it's like, I'm like, oh, finally. So, you know, there is
things are changing.
Yeah,
things are changing.
They are, finally. So
yeah,
I mean, to answer your question, I think that it's smart, especially like for women, because the theater world is so much for men still. Think of all the plays, all the famous plays that we know of. 85-90% cast male.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's what I'm thinking. That men are still playing and enjoying the lead roles in the theater, while we're women, we're like, okay, so how many more years I can play this and that? I think I'm gonna open up a company.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, all artistic directors in Hong Kong, at least, of English theater, I know, are women. Isn't
now,
that crazy?
yes,
I mean, it makes me happy. It makes me really happy.
Yes, now they are. When I came here, mostly they were men. Mostly.
What changed, do you think?
I think, okay, Hong Kong is a great place for entrepreneurship. So just by being in Hong Kong, you get inspired by whatever goes on, by the constant buzz, by people being so creative at putting ideas together, you know, whether you are an actor or whether you like, I don't know, to make candles or making knickknacks, you know, people find a way to go like, okay, this is what I like, what I'm passionate about. I create this, I want to put it out there. Why not? You know, and I just see people who do that. You go like, could I do this for the arts, you know, for what I do? I'm passionate about theater, so could I do that? And you know what? The good thing about Hong Kong, no one's going to tell you, no, don't do it. No one.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. I felt so empowered and so inspired, exactly like what you said. And I was like, okay, that's time. This is time to open up. Make it official. Make it official.
Exactly. Yeah. Go for it. Go for it. Yeah. Absolutely. And I hope
cool.
There'll be more women out there to do the same.
Yeah. No, it's already changing. Totally. Yeah. Totally agree with you. And you left Italy when you were how old?
I was 24.
24?
Yeah.
24, and you went to Australia first, is that right?
I went to Australia, and then afterwards I came to Hong Kong. I had like an opportunity to come here for, well, back in the days I worked as a designer. So I had the opportunity to come to Hong Kong and do an internship. So in theory, I had to come here for 6 months, do my internship, and then, I don't know, fly back to Sydney, where I was like thinking about going back. And that never happened.
And you went to Sydney for work? For what did you do?
Just change of scenery. I just needed a change of scenery. I graduated in Milan, and I was like, yeah, great. I mean, I love Milan. Milan's a great place, but I was like, okay, what's next? You know, I was up for an adventure.
And you decided to go as further as you can.
Yes, I needed the good weather. I needed, you know, like a faraway place, exotic. I needed Australia that time.
Okay. And you didn't think of opening a theater there in Australia? No, right? Didn't even
I was
consider.
No, I was a bit too green at that time. And, you know, I think the place where you are at really inspires you. And Australia's a great place. And I really like Sydney. It's such a great city to live in.
Yeah.
But arts-wise, I mean, there is, of course, and there is more than Hong Kong, for sure. But it's not really, it doesn't have that independent kind of vibe, you know. At least I'm talking about back in the days. I don't know now. but maybe now it's changed. I mean, I went back to Sydney 2 years ago. It changed a lot. So perhaps now it's more attentive to the arts, more, they have more independent groups and stuff like that. But back in the days, not so much.
Yeah, one of the Australian creatives saying that it's not so exotic in Sydney. She's from,
right, okay.
Are you from Sydney, Emma? Actually,
yeah.
I forgot. Where are you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's interesting that you started talking about the, the scale of the industry, creative industry. Hong Kong English theater is very small, like is very, very small. Have you ever wondered, because I do sometimes, have you ever wondered what would happen to you artistically if you stayed in Italy? Because in Italy, it's enormous, right? You can do some.
Yeah. Good question.
You?
I have, yeah. So back in the days, I was fortunate enough, and I was still at university, so I was really young, I was fortunate enough to audition for this theatre company in Italy, which was at that time fairly big, and it still is. And they offered me the role of Helena in Midsummer Night's Dream. And, this was a group that went around schools in my hometown and basically, did school workshops and did the drama club. They were in charge of all of that. And that's how I got to know them. That's how I joined. And then a few years later, when I was already out of school, they said, we'd like you to be in our show. Would you like that? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's fantastic. That's a great opportunity. So basically, I didn't have much experience. So what they did, they basically trained me. They gave me and the other young actors involved proper theatrical training. I remember we did so much voice work at that time, some physical, but mostly mostly voice, sorry. So that was a great thing. And we toured for about a year around Italy, and that stopped, and that ended. Okay, things finish. But then I was thinking, do I want to go somewhere else? Do I want to stay here? And I did consider local drama schools and stuff, but Italy is not a good country for that. Because for joining a drama school that is not private, because there are a lot of drama schools out there, but they're all private, cost a lot of money, and there is no guarantee whether you will be able to work or not. I'm of the opinion that everyone will be able to go to an audition and get a role eventually. But if you only put all your eggs in one basket, it's best to learn something else while you train for an actor, because you never know. So Italy, when I left, it didn't have a good system. You needed to rely on your contacts and on your acquaintances rather than your own talent. There's a massive queue of people who would be willing to do whatever to, in order to have just a role in a movie, not even speaking part.
Yeah.
And they treat you like dirt. And if you don't want to do it, it's full of people out there who can. And theater is difficult. It's better treated, but it's more difficult to crack in. Movies, TVs, really, really hard. So I didn't want to get involved in that environment. I was like, I want to go out and see what's out there. And if it's the same, then maybe I'll go back. But I didn't find the same thing. So.
Well, good. Then it's perfect that you're in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
sometimes living in Singapore and Hong Kong, sometimes I feel like maybe it's not a very popular opinion, but it's not so bad to be a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah. Yeah, no, right? True. You get to work. And because you're a foreigner, you can get roles for foreigners, which, they're limited because they don't have specific people. So it's good. It's got its own perks. On the other hand, though, you're only reaching out to the English community, which is very limiting.
Yep. Yeah. Even for selling your tickets.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. And are you married now?
Yes, I am.
If you don't mind my questions, you don't have kids, right?
No.
Was it your conscious choice? Or...
We were both. So my husband and I, we've been together. We've been married for 4 years now, and we've been together for 7 years. We met in a production.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both acting in The Last Days of Judas Iscariot 7 years ago, and we had a scene together where we like argued nonstop, and then that was it. That's how it took off. So we've been together ever since, and my husband and I were really like easygoing, like ambivalent. We were always like kids or no kids, kids or no kids, and we were like, we kind of enjoy our lives as it is, but if it does happen, they're welcome. Sure, why not? But to look for it actively, maybe not. But let's see what happens. It could happen, and we would be okay with it. Yeah.
And in your relationship, are you a feminist, by the way? Are you a feminist? Do you consider yourself a feminist?
To some extent. I don't agree with everything, but I agree with a lot of things.
Oh, Emma actually said, very curious about Hong Kong, very wide range of people, international population. Yeah, very international.
Yeah.
But the English theater is really, really small. So, yes. Not so much of local people, right, come to see English theater.
I mean, sometimes it happens, but it really depends on the person. If you are dealing with that local Hong Kong who grew up in the in the West or spent a lot of time abroad, and English is not a problem for them, then of course like they will not have a problem coming to see your shows. But if you're talking to the local community, we're not really reaching, like we're not really grasping on that part. Also because let's not forget that theaters in Hong Kong are really expensive. And, if you want to make up for the costs, you need to charge more. And, if you were supported by the government, you would only charge a small amount. But if you're not, you got to charge more if you want to keep up with the costs. And while certain people don't mind paying, some other people do. So there's that too.
So on the production side, what, in your opinion, is the hardest then on the production side?
So it's always like kind of difficult to reach out to new people. Whenever people say like, oh, is there a theater in Hong Kong? I don't know. That all the time, like my heart sinks. Like, why not?
Yeah.
It's just like, there is theater, but like we need to reach out to like more. And I know that our resources are limited because like unless you have a lot of money to spend on promotion, on marketing, like it would be great to have one of your shows advertised on a bus. But you're not gonna make that money back. Even if you have it and you spend it, you're not gonna make it back.
Yeah. And most of the revenue, wherever the money go to what? To the venue, right? To the venue and marketing, and then you have to...
Yes. So it goes mostly to the venue. The venue is like 40%, 45%.
And it's really hard to get as well. It's really hard.
It's so hard. My goodness. So for this year, like I raised my hands and I gotta, we're just doing stuff online, easier.
So are you have you been doing a lot of online work since the COVID?
Yeah, classes, lots of classes online.
How do you feel? How do you feel doing that?
They have there is the good part of it, like think about if you have actors who want to take classes on Zoom, if you think about it, every day nowadays almost everything goes on self-tapes. So if one practices a scene, whether it's a dialogue or a monologue on camera, you will understand how to, use your personality better for the camera, how to, nail certain angles, where to look and so forth, and also how to interpret, of course, the script and everything. But of course, on the other hand, you miss on physicality, you miss some vocal training. So yes, that's also like,
And I guess it's not so easy to do acting workshops, group acting workshops online, because there's lots of interaction, should be lots of physical, you know, interaction.
Of course. Yeah. It's got its challenges. I mean, like, we've had, like, luckily a lot of people who are like really enthusiastic of being able to, you know, deconstruct the scripts for the first time, and they really enjoy understanding more of the characterization, relationships between characters, and so forth. I even joined last week like a class in New York with semi-professional actors, and they were dealing with the same thing.
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? That you can reach out to international companies and take workshops with people you would never be able to take workshops.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage.
But there is that. Exactly. There is that, and you can do that. So it's pretty awesome on the other side. So let's say you can't really have it all, but, you know, you can have different things.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what is home for you now then? Hong Kong?
It's Hong Kong. It's been home for the last 15 years, but I would like an adventure.
Another one, yeah? So you don't mind to move?
I like to move, yeah. I'd like to, you know, I kind of miss the West a little bit, because I miss the culture. I miss Europe. I miss, you know, like the having culture like so accessible to you. I don't think I would like the cold too much, but, you know, can't have it perfect. I do miss that though. Yeah, I do.
Are you a risk taker? Do you like taking risks?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
I think that's probably the most important trait, you know, in personality for being an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely. If you don't take risks, you know, even you can take small risks. You don't have to risk it all. You can take it small, what it's, you know, feasible for you. Take it from there, learn mistakes, but you have to do it.
Definitely. Okay. And do you have any insecurities you're most struggling with? You know, those kind of insecurities that you go to your therapist and stuff.
Insecurities? Oh, well, I mean, who doesn't, right?
Can you share a few?
Yeah, sure. Let's say that, you know, Hong Kong is very overwhelming. And, you know, sometimes it's tricky to juggle everything. So I'm not saying, like, you know, I deal with anxiety or anything, because, like, that would be unfair to those who actually suffer from anxiety. But I don't like feeling overwhelmed when I have too many things. And if nothing else, that has taught me to delegate a little bit, because as you were saying before, you know, you said, like, I have trust issues. Well, so do I. So do I. So I need to have everything within my control, you know, to see that things don't get messed up and everything, and they're all in one place. But sometimes you can't, because it's not possible. One person cannot do everything. And then, like,
definitely,
if you have that presumption that you are going to do everything, then you're going to make mistakes. That's when you mess it up. So don't do it.
Yeah, I learned when I became a mother. Jesus Christ.
Oh, gosh.
It's like the best lesson learned, that you cannot control everything. Just let it
especially
go.
Especially baby, especially kids, right? No.
Yeah, no.
Are unpredictable.
And what's your most, can you share with us, what was your most embarrassing moment in your career? Maybe as an actress, or some audition, or I don't know, anything that comes to your mind.
Oh, I've done quite a few screw ups.
Maybe some projects that you're the most embarrassed of. Some, like,
gosh,
movies or
there is one. Yeah, there is one of the. I can't really name it though, because that will be like, you
know,
the actors put a lot of you know. But there was this play I'm not really proud of, and
you directed it or you acted in it? You produced it? You
produced it and directed it. Let's say that, okay, without going too much into details, the idea was, it was an original play. The idea was very good, but because we didn't quite have the idea of workshopping a script, we were a bit green for that kind of project. We were a bit naive, let's say. So as soon as this script came through, we were like, oh, okay, let's try and work this out. But then we realized that there was not much, but I realized that afterwards, it was like not much for the actors to do. Mm-hmm. So let's say it was a bit bland. It was a good idea, but it was a bit bland. Then I remember like I got a bit fed up with the whole thing. And I, like a few days later, flew to New York for a training, for a acting and script writing training. And I said, like, I really hope that this will bring me an answer, because right now I don't have an answer. And after this training, I realized what was wrong with it. It was wrong that you can't have a play, you know, that someone wrote and boom, put it on stage. It doesn't work like that. You've got to workshop it. You've got to work it out. You've got to try with different actors, see different voices, you know, this sort of thing. And then I learned my experience. I learned from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like something that I'm not exactly like. Yeah.
Is that your director's technique, that once you get the script, you workshop it, you destructure it, and then analyze it, and then only then you go to rehearse it? Is that how you work?
It depends if it's original or already existing. So if it's already existing, I don't think I have to do too much to it, except interpret the script, deconstruct it, you know. So I mean, my technique for directing tends to be very coaching oriented. I want to make sure that I coach the actors to think, to make their own choices, to guide them, so that, you know, they're not just reading, they're like experiencing the lines, they understand the characters. For me, it's very important. But when it comes to like original script, I want to work with the playwright, and I want to work like together with the actors, and I want to see like the actors read the scenes together, and they give us feedback. They give the playwright feedback. We discuss together how to stage, this sort of thing. So it's a collaboration. It's not just like, you know.
That's nice.
I'm doing.
So what do you look then? What do you look then in actors when you audition for them? What do you look for?
I look for them, like, thing number one, they have to be directable.
Mm-hmm. What does it mean?
It means that, you know, every actor should come prepared. You know, it should come like, I mean, they can get, like, if they receive the scene beforehand, they can get off book before or not, but at least, let's say, they should read through it and understand the subtext, or perhaps they should have a monologue with them. They should, you know, come with a decent resume, decent pictures. I look at these kind of things because, you know, you've got to present yourself professionally and in a good way. And then, like, you know, during the auditions, many times I actually said, you know what, I'll give you the scene 10 minutes before, because I want to see how you do with a cold reading. So I don't expect you to, you know, do anything too flashy. I just want you to absorb those words and see what you can do. And then I will give them different directions. I will give them different things to think about. I will give them different scenarios or situations, and see how they react, and see, you know, what choices they make, and if they listen to each other, and if they listen to me. And that's, for me, is the most important thing. Be directable, because if you're not directable, then no one can work with you.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I actually quite like giving people like cold readings, because I think like it's, you know, some people are bad readers, and I'm one of them. Probably because, like, you know, you do theater in a different language, you know, it's not your own, so it's always like you got to think the double compared to others. But on the other hand, you really show what, like, yourself. You really show your colors, and that's what. And how
fast you can think on your feet.
Exactly,
as well. Is really important for stage. For stages,
exactly.
It's extremely important. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. And probably last question. It's not in my list, but it just came to my mind. How do you plan your season? you plan it really carefully, or you know, like for example, my latest online play just came out of nowhere. I didn't plan it, but it was such a great script. Emma, hello to you.
Hi,
What
Emma.
a child. Yeah, so it kind of changed.
I watched it.
It changed everything, you know, all my plans. So how does it work for you? Do you plan it? Do you dig for scripts? Do you know, travel somewhere for scripts? How does it happen?
Well, I used to travel when I was like lucky and spoiled. I used to travel to New York to get like this amount of books and stuff it on a suitcase. Normally I either did that, or whenever I was in the UK, I also bought a lot of stuff. So what I do, I read scripts, I read plays, and the ones that I like, the ones that could go well in in Hong Kong, they could do well for the community. I put them on the side and say, I like this and I would like to do it at some point, but let's see when. Because it also depends like on the projects that you have, on scheduling, on, you know, what's going on in your life. Sometimes doing a show with 3 actors or 4 actors is easier than having a production of 20, right? So it really depends. Like I read and I have like my own database. So I go like, okay, what should we be doing? What do I feel like? Should we go for a big production, or should we go for a small thing, or should we go for something that is really famous, or should I maybe get something out of the drawer that somebody gave me to consider for like an original play? So I'm all open to ideas, but it depends what the situation is in that moment. Like, as you mentioned, you needed to do Water Child online. So that was very feasible. That was, you know, why not? One location, easy.
No money to pay for the venue. That's the most.
Isn't that nice?
Amazing thing.
Isn't that nice?
Okay, before the time is up, I'd like to play a little game with you.
Oh, cool. We're playing games.
Basically, I will ask you quick questions, and you need to reply to them quickly as you can. Yeah, that's it. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio?
Brad Pitt.
Tarantino or Woody Allen?
Tarantino.
Vacation on a beach or in a big new city?
Big new city.
Cinema or Netflix?
Netflix.
Money or fame?
Money.
Comedies or horrors? Horror
Comedy.
Movie. Comedy. Rome or Milan?
Milan.
Okay. Movies or theater?
Theater.
Live or Zoom?
Live.
Acting or directing?
Acting.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much, Nicole,
Thank you
for joining me. What's next for you? Let us know, please, so people can tune in.
Yes. So next is COVID and cigarettes. So we
What's
are
that?
experimenting. Okay. So we are experimenting with an online Zoom production. So back in the days, I did 2 shows. They were both collections of 10 minutes plays, and the movie Coffee and Cigarettes inspired me.
I love it.
The movies, I love it. Yeah, it's a collection of short movies, and I thought it was brilliant. So I did the same. I presented a collection of theater plays, short plays, and I called them Coffee and Cigarettes. And then I really enjoyed like the community spirit, you know, involving so many people. And I did the same the year after, and we did Champagne and Cigarettes. And then I thought, okay, well, that was great, but now it's time to, you know, do some full-length plays, perhaps something a bit more famous, a bit more challenging. And I redirected myself towards a different direction. And then this year, of course, like COVID hit. We were lucky enough to be on stage for Mussolini's Mistresses on that window that opened before lockdown. And that was it. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we should do something online. you know, why not? And then I thought, CNC, COVID and cigarettes, of course.
Amazing.
And so that basically, I just shared the idea with a few people and they said, yes, do it. Why not? Cool. And I basically, for the first time, I reached out to an international community. Thank you, Christina, for the inspiration, because like I saw you doing it. I'm like, oh, cool. Let's try. Why not?
Nice.
This is the time, because otherwise you can't do it. So,
when is it? When is it going to be?
We don't really have a date just yet, but it's going to happen sometimes like late October, early November.
Cool.
So it will be basically like recorded on Zoom and put it on YouTube.
Okay, so look for this space, guys. So if you haven't followed the Aurora Theatre yet, please follow them on social media. It was great to talk to you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Christina,
for joining us and supporting us. And yes, it was KrisP Talk. It's an online interview series that we, do once a month. We bring guests from different creative backgrounds and industries. So please stay updated for new talks. And thank you, everyone who joined us. Thank you, Nicole. And
thank you.
See you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.